Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I am here with my, what are we up to? Fourth guest. I'm so excited to continue our journey together in the Expanding Your Brilliance podcast series. And before I introduce my amazing guest, I want to share with you that today, if you guys have been watching my social media, that the coupon code for the Expanding Your Brilliance retreat, which is happening September 25th from 10 to 3, is the coupon code is Brilliance. So it's going to give you a surprise amount off. It expires today, the 12th at 11:59. I'm throwing all these numbers at you, but just go type in the coupon code. For anybody who's been, actually, Christine's been to one of my retreats years ago.
Mhm.
And so, like, one of my very first retreats, but these are experiences that, like, you're not just sitting there journaling, taking notes in the back, like, you're actively participating and shifting. And that's, I love hosting retreats. It's one of my favorite ways that to use the God-given gifts that I have to help people to heal, transform very quickly. And this specific one, the Expanding Your Brilliance retreat, is going to be focused on refining your focus as well as unlocking more profit. So we're going to go through a lot of fun activities. You are not just going to be sitting in the back taking notes. Let me just say that. We have fun. It's incredible, and I'm really excited for this one. So I will leave the link for that in the show notes in the comments here, and let's get started. So Christine, I have my beautiful guest, Christine Furman, and we match because she has her
There
book in the
it
background. I love it so much, and she has another one there. Christine brought a whole like posse to our in-person book signing, and I loved it. And Ginny, if you're watching, I love you. Ginny's like Ginny's like Lindsay's grandma.
I
I
love
love it
it
so
so
much.
much.
So I will let you introduce yourself to our audience. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you so much, Christina, for having me. It's such an honor to be here. I am Christine Furman, the home education expert, the founder of Momspiration 412 Worldwide and EduPlay Learning. So I am a certified teacher, elementary, special education, turned homeschool mom. So during 2020, all the shift was happening. I started writing curriculum and teaching preschool families virtually, which led to EduPlay Learning Curriculum, Academy, and activity boxes. So now I do that. I write specific programs. I teach families virtually and in person, and I walk alongside families on their educational journey, wherever that may be, whether they're in school, homeschool, need a little extra help, preschool, mom at home, like, what do I do with my kids? So I love to, anything educational, anything related to kids and families. I'm there for it.
And I want to just reflect back. I feel like when guests come on, I'm like, let me brag on you. Let me share your brilliance because when you came to the book signing, you should see everybody watching. You should see the way that she just like gravitates to these kids. She's like, "Hi!" Like I love the enthusiasm and like it's a genuine joy that you have
Thank you.
when you saw like I think it was Katie's daughter or whoever. You're like, "Hi!" And I can just feel the passion and the love that you have for these kids. So I can only imagine what those sessions are like, even if it's virtual. So I wanted to just highlight that. Like I feel that energy from you, and it's so beautiful how God's using you.
Thank
So,
you. It really
but
is my passion,
yeah,
to
it's so
really help
clear.
kiddos. Thank you.
Aw. Well, so let's start off with a fun fact that you were telling me because you did not start here. So tell the audience about your fun fact.
So my fun fact is that when I was 17 years old, I owned and ran a pizza shop. And it all came about is because my first job, I worked at Pizza Hut. And I was working there at 16, excited to have my first real, job out with other people, not your family or whatever. And I said, I'm going to go be a manager, Dad. I'm going to be a manager and I'm going to work my way up, and he's like, there's this pizza place for sale down the street. What if we bought it and you ran it? And I was like, okay, like, why not? I'm 17 years old. Why not run a pizza shop? So it was challenging though, because it was already an established business and there were already employees there. So
Right.
here comes a 17-year-old. Employees are 18, 20, 40, 50. There were older
Oh
employees
yeah.
too. So here I am, young kid, no idea what I'm doing, literally, you know? And I'm like, all right, I'm going to make your schedule and I'm going to do the inventory and I'm going to do the, all the things. And there were challenges, but it was a good time for sure. I learned a lot. And then I did that all through high school and college. And when I got to college, I knew my passion was education. I knew it was kids from the time I was little. I've always said that, what do you want to be? A teacher. There was no question about it. I knew that that's what I was going to be. And so in college, I was like, Dad, I have to quit. I have to leave this business, like a family business.
Yes.
Could have been successful. I could have stayed there and been fine. But I was like, I need to go work in a daycare. And he was like, what? You're going to leave something that you're running to go work for someone else? But I had to do it. I knew that I had to do it. And I had to follow my passion. And it wasn't until just now that as we were talking that I was like, oh my goodness, like I left a business, a family business, to pursue my own passion.
It sounds familiar.
I know.
I've done that too.
But I didn't even realize it until now,
Yeah, that not many people can say that they ran a business at age 17. That's incredible. And I feel like for you, what I was just hearing intuitively was like God put such a willing spirit in you to like the way that it's coming through is like you go get it. Like you're willing to like try it and see what happens.
Mhm.
And I think that that's one of the key elements of being an entrepreneur is like you have to be willing to try things. And I'm
Mhm.
sure you teach your kids and your actual kids and your other kids this too,
Yeah.
like being willing to experiment or
Mhm.
quote unquote fail. I don't like to use that
Exactly.
word, but I
Absolutely.
yeah.
Because that's the thing. It's like those moments of failure, it's like that quote, you only have to fail, or you only, what is it? You have to fail one more time and then you get up and succeed, or,
Yeah.
it's just continuing to get up. That's the bottom line here is, you just have to continue to get up.
Resilient.
Yes, because each of those moments, each of those failures, if you will, are lessons learned. They're not
Mm,
failures.
mhm.
It's an opportunity for, I always call them a teaching moment, and it's an opportunity to learn. What do we learn from this opportunity?
That would be I'm just like channeling here. God's like so just Holy Spirit. Like I could see you having like teaching moments as like, I don't know, you know how there's like testimonial Tuesday, like teaching
Mhm.
moment Tuesday or something like
Oh, I
that. That would
love
be
it.
super cool.
Mhm.
Just saying an idea for the future. I know you have all these ideas because you're so passionate. We were just talking about that. So let's talk about that. What are some of the things that you're really excited about right now? I know you have another book book collaboration coming out.
Mhm.
So tell me what's exciting for you.
So let's talk about the book too, right? Your book was the second anthology that I wrote. And
Yes.
now I just finished my third and it'll be out in September. And each of these have been an opportunity for me to write a piece of my story, where it's all, I feel for me, all around the same time frame of when I started my business. I was also raising my kids. We were also in a pandemic and we were also moving. So
Right.
there's a lot of stuff going on in there.
Mhm.
And as I was going through each of these books, it's like there's so much to unpack and really look at and say, well, you learned a lot from this, and we have, improved here, and this was a challenge, or, so that has been really awesome. And I know for working with you, just digging deeper was really the biggest lesson for me through this experience,
Mhm.
because you gave the format in question form for our anthology. And I was like, "Ah, I can do this. I'm on interviews, and this is easy," until I sat down and put it on paper. And
Mhm.
I was like, why is this so difficult? Why is this one question so hard for me? And it
Yeah.
was about the challenges that you've overcome. And it's like, yes, I've overcome these challenges, but there's still more.
Mm.
There's still other things that I'm still working through.
Yeah.
And, just kind of that self-doubt. That was the biggest like piece to unlock and say, why are you letting this affect you? Why are you doubting yourself? Why are you questioning all your decisions when you know what you were supposed to do? You know?
Mhm.
And for me, it was like, there's so much noise out there. There's so
Yes.
many gurus. There's so many people telling you, do this. Oh, no, no, don't do that. Do it this way. Oh, you should do this, or you should do that. And me as a multi-passionate person, I'm like, okay, let me do that one. No, 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 no. Abandon that. Let's do this one. Nope, abandon that. Now let's try this. So that follow through for me has really been a challenge because
Yeah.
it's like I can start a project. I call my husband the closer because I was like, he could close all my things all day, right? Like I'll start the laundry, you finish it up. I'll start dinner, you finish it up. But in your own business, you need to close your own things.
Yes.
So that has definitely been a challenge, and just bringing that to the forefront and saying, all right, Christine, here's your struggle. Now you need to make it happen and you need to,
Mm.
you know, so that kind of is where I'm at. And then these books then have also like been a stepping stone for my own book, that I remember years ago, I don't have the ambition to write a book. No, that's not for me. Why would I want to do that? And now I'm like, I got
I want to do
multiple
that.
books. Yeah.
So let's get a little like pull back the curtain a little bit. What would you love to write about? Like if it were your own book, you're holding your book, you're up at your book signing. What's the book about?
So there's a lot of them. There's multiple series. It will be a series, and it's all about everything that I do, how I help moms, how I help children, how in my role as a teacher, how did I go through that role and connect with my students, my children there. I always called them my kids there in my classroom.
Yeah.
How did I connect with the my staff? Like I wasn't doing that by myself. Even at home, it's not by myself. I have my husband. I have a community that I lean on, my children. I actually was just talking about this with a friend. I said, when my kids leave my house, I'm going to be sad because I'm going to lose two helpers. Like my kids literally are 8 and 10 now. They unload the dishwasher, they do their own laundry, they clean the bathrooms, like they can do all the things. And I'm like, I'm going to have to do all that myself. And so just kind of like taking each of those experiences, now as a homeschool mom, as an educator in different realms, I've helped be an advocate for kids that are in the public school and they're not getting the services that they need. That kind of leans on my special education background is like, how are we meeting the needs of all of our kids? And I know for me right now in this season and where I'm at with my business, I can do that without any repercussions of someone slapping me on the wrist of saying,
Right.
well, you shouldn't have said that. No one's going to say that to me now.
That's the beauty of owning your own business. And that's a big reason why I gravitated towards this too, because I don't like being told what to do. Like, don't put limits on me.
No.
No.
Yep.
It's like that freedom of self-expression. Then you can design things and be creative and do what and really make the impact you can make.
Absolutely.
So
My
that
husband, we
makes
were
so much
joking at
sense.
the pool. They were talking about, who you answer to at work and we're all sitting there and he goes, I don't know who you answer to though. He goes, I know when I come home, I answer to you. He's like, but who do you answer to? I said, nobody.
Your husband, I have to like your husband he's a rock. I can just feel that from him that he's just loves and supports you so much.
So
And it
much
just
that he didn't record me or take a picture.
Oh
No, that was the joke. Whenever we were up there, getting
no. He was so in awe of you. That's
he
why.
was like, you're upset because I was watching you so intently. I was like, all I wanted you to do was record me and take a picture.
Oh no.
No, but
All
it was
right. Well,
all good.
I'm sure there's going to be another book signing.
There is.
You can hold up both books.
It's all good. He did get the picture at the end, but it was like, that really is him. He's sitting there and he's so supportive in all the ways,
Yes.
and not in a way where I'm going to be, don't answer to anyone. That's not really the case, but it's the fact that like, he's just so supportive of everything that I do. And it really makes a huge difference.
Aw, I can see that. Yeah. And I'm sure he helps out with the kids too.
My
I
gosh,
could
so
just tell.
much. So much. Yes.
Yeah.
Like even for camp this week, it wasn't all on me to get them there, bring them home. He's like, I can go do these 2 days. I can pick up this day. And that to me means a whole lot, because I think also there's a part where, I would have this feeling, I don't even know, it's not a regret, but a resentment, if you will, where you have your job and you go to work, right? And
Yes.
you have dedicated time. My role is mom first, is homeschool, and then the business. So there's 3 roles that I have to fit in 24
Right.
hours. And it
Yeah.
was like, well, I'm not willing to give up any of those. So how do you make that work? And that's constantly been a conversation that him and I have had, and no fault to his own. Obviously, he's providing for our family, you
Yeah.
know, but it was still a overwhelming sensation for me. Like, how do I do 3 full-time jobs in the same amount of time? And,
Mm-hmm.
it really is communication. I mean, I honestly believe that's really what's been very helpful for us. And in all situations, really, is that communication of saying, I need your support right now. This is my goal. This is what I need to do. And I need the support.
Mm-hmm. Did you write about that at all? I'm curious in this book, because I know that's kind of what, expanding your brilliance was like. How do you juggle it all? So I was curious if you wrote about that.
I probably didn't. And I
Yeah.
probably, need to write that down, because that's probably sometimes when I do interviews, it's like, oh, like we were talking
Well,
about
you
the
had this recording, so.
yeah, it's like those aha moments of like, wow, that was actually more impactful than I even realized.
So it's Father's Day coming up. What's he getting?
Actually, because I won a spa session from you, we're
Uh-huh.
actually going to get couples massages on Father's Day.
Oh my God, yay!
Like,
That's so
here's
much
me.
fun.
I had like, I'm getting a massage and a facial,
Right.
but then I'm like, I know we talked about couples massages. We could go together. And he's like, okay.
Oh, that's so nice. So is
So
it like a 90-minute or 60?
I think it's a 60-minute, this one.
Okay. Oh,
Mhm.
good.
So that'll
Good.
be fun. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, absolutely. So just to give everybody else context, if you're watching and you're like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" So, for anybody that comes to my events, programs, like, you pay a certain amount to come into those programs, but my goal is to give you, like, 10 times the value of that. So, I always try to circulate my wealth and give back, and so what we did was, within our anthology group, so there's 14 authors. I was like, all right, let's have a fun contest and see like who can share, about the book signing and get the Amazon reviews. And Christine by far was like posting and sharing, like we call her, the cheerleader. We were just talking about that. And so I'm like, the clear winner is Christine. So she got money to go spend at to for that self-care for her massage. And then Tara Davis actually got the Amazon gift card. But you were the clear winner because you were so excited.
Well, thank
So
you.
thank you for that.
Yes.
So how can people reach you? Where
So
can they
I
find
have
you?
a couple ways. I have the Home Education with Ease podcast. So I share all of my resources and information, regarding, I do a lot of health and wellness too, because honestly, as a mom, I need to be functioning properly and at my optimal health, which I'm constantly, figuring out what that is, because it changes as we age,
Yeah.
and so that's something I share a lot. I share that about my own health, also about my children, things that are good for their health, because I want them to be functioning properly as well.
Yeah.
And then I lean into education, that's really my passion. So I share all different, ways that you can educate your kids at home, and activities and resources for moms. So check out the Home Education with Ease podcast. And then there's also a free Facebook group, Home Education with Ease, where I share more resources and just ways that you guys can get connected with me and send me DMs and, ways that we can work together.
I also want to highlight your Instagram because I see those stories come up, and I think it's really helpful to have a visual sometimes of like the activities that you do with them, or like the different reels that you create. I think that's another really good place that people
Mhm.
can go and like connect with you and see more about what you do.
Yeah. So that's
So,
the home education expert, Christine Furman. That's all one account. And then EduPlay Learning on all accounts as well, Facebook and Instagram. just like you're saying, highlighting the activities, the collections, all the curriculum that I do, and those teaching moments for sure.
So you have, I want to highlight this before we hop off, the EduPlay Learning, the reading fundamentals. So you said you start at age 2, right?
Yep.
So tell us more about that. And
So I start with the learn your letters, and we're really just practicing fun ways to teach our kids about their letters. So their letters, their sounds, matching uppercase, lowercase, and then that leads into my reading fundamentals program, which then, once they know their letters, they know their sounds, now we can start blending those words together. And I use a word family book. I've created a lot of curriculum around that, flashcards. I do a combination of sight words and phonics, and it's the perfect blend of it all, because our kids don't just need sight words. They need to know that this letter makes a different sound, and
Mm,
why does it make a sound. And sometimes they don't follow the rules, and that's okay. We just need to know this word. But knowing that me doesn't make the short e sound, it makes the long e sound. Well, we're actually still teaching them those phonics instead of saying this word is me and just know this word. So it's really a combination and a blend of everything to set our kids up for success for a good reading fundamentals for sure.
I love that. I know you said you're adding some extra love to that right now,
Mhm.
right behind the
Yes.
scenes. So I just want to honor you for the healer, the light, the educator, the woman that you are, and how God's using you in so many brilliant ways. Thank you for sharing your heart, your story, your energy, your enthusiasm with us within the anthology, within this book, this whole process. And everybody, make sure you go check her out, Christine Furman. We're going to leave all of the information in the show notes or the comments if you're looking on social media. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Christina. I just love working with you. And if anyone has the opportunity to work with you, I highly recommend it. So,
Oh, thank you so much. I received that. All
yes.
right, everybody. We'll see you at 1 o'clock with Kate Cozart. So we'll see you then. Bye.
Thanks.